Sinclair has created a wonderful fisherman's cap pattern. It's available from Ravelry, and today I want to share with you some of my hat projects and how I've devised some pattern innovations for her hat design. My name is Sarah Mathis and my business is Highland Colours. If you watch through to the end of the video, you'll be able to see the yarn, needles and patterns that I've used. This is going to be a fairly short episode just about the Fair Isle Fisherman's Cap pattern by Anne Sinclair mainly, and I'll be showing a few other things that I do with the pattern, but I have downloaded this one from the Fair Isle Fisherman's Cap Facebook website, and there is a whole Facebook devoted just to this pattern, and you can get it from there or you can buy it straight through Ravelry. Anne Sinclair has developed this pattern in about 2010. There's a little bit of an introduction at the beginning about the pattern. It's based off of traditional Fair Isle designs, and it's become really popular online, and I can see why. There's so many different ways of knitting it, so many different color combinations, and just to introduce this, there's so many different things you can do with the pattern. So just here I have put this on my old pottery turntable just to be able to show it all the way around. I have used the baa-ble sheep pattern here, which is a very popular one. Lots of people will have seen that, and you can get that pattern from the pattern grid to work those sheep from either of these two patterns, and there's probably others. This one's the baa-ble hat by Donna Smith, that's available on Ravelry, and this one, Alpaca Cowl for Rhinebeck by Deb Jaculo, I think. Hopefully that's the right way to pronounce it. So there's two patterns there where you can get that sheep pattern from. Now, you can't just take the pattern from here and knit it into the cap pattern without altering it slightly, because the stitches are different. So these two patterns I knit on heavier yarn. So they're both knit on a sort of Aran weight yarn from what I can tell, and the sheep grid pattern is knitted over 60 stitches on these. So there you can see, and so if you want to take it from here and put it onto this hat, you need to knit it twice, and what I did was I added a sheep. So it needs to be 144 stitches to do this pattern here. The Fisherman's Cap pattern that you'll purchase is very exhaustive. Now, it has all kinds of combinations. It gives different patterns for doing 17 row Fair Isle patterns, so you can pick and choose. There is 20, 18, 22, so you can pick and choose, and they'll all go into this however you want to do it. But it's a good idea to decide what you're going to do before you start knitting, because you would want to plan it out. And that's if you're going to just go straight from this pattern. If you want to do something different like I've done here, you may like to find other patterns that will go in here. And now for this one I've used Alaska from Camille Desconto. I hope that is the pronunciation. French name by the look of that. This one is really easy to transpose from this pattern to the cap, because it's 144 stitches for those tree patterns that I've done here. So just to talk about this for a little while here, the Fisherman's Cap patterns are knitted in Jameson 4-ply wool, but I decided I wanted to spin my own 4-ply and dye it all with plants. So this is what I've done for this hat. It can be quite tricky to get it exactly right. It's quite a fine yarn to spin, and it takes quite a while. This one weighs a total of 147 grams. It's quite a large man's cap, and I also knitted it slightly deeper than some of my earlier ones. So, you know, that's not an awful lot of wool, but when you want a lot of different colors, you know, you could end up having to buy a lot of colors from Jameson to do this. So if you spin and dye them yourself, that makes the project probably more interesting, and you'll also have lots of leftover colors that you can use in another cap or another project afterwards. So if you spin them all to the same weight, that would be, you know, a good thing. You build up a little collection like I have here. And these are all spun, not all of them here, but most of these are spun to the same kind of weight. And they're all dyed with plants. I've got onion skins there. This is weld with indigo over the top. And I have a plain Morit Shetland and various other hand spuns in there. So that is something you can do. Now, here are two others that I have. I'm just going to pull this one off here so you can see my pot underneath. These are two other caps that I've done with other designs. This one's quite a tall cap. Anne Sinclair's pattern gives instructions for a very long cap which sort of hangs right down your back, or a shorter one. So this one is halfway between the two. And again, I've taken the snowflake design from the baa-ble hat and I've put it with the Alaska trees. And you can have all sorts of effects by putting different colors behind the trees. If you Google that and just have a look at what people have done with this pattern, it's wonderful. Around here I found a pattern with squirrels and nuts on there and oak leaves, and that's all done with the Morit Shetland, spun worsted, very, very soft, and there's 350 yards, 400 yards to 100 grams there. So that is another hat that I've done there. And to start with, I wasn't sure about putting these tassels on, but I actually think that her suggestion of putting a full tassel on the end is nice, because it does weight the hat down and makes it just lie nice and flat. My earlier hats, I didn't do that. This is one of my earlier ones and it's a lot shorter. You can see that's a lot smaller. And I just literally braided that and put a tie around it and left these ends. And that's fine, but I just have gone over to doing a bigger tassel. And she does give instructions on how to do that. This is a Viking boat with a raven that I have worked out how many I could get on here for 144 stitches. So there's a lot of fun things you can do with this pattern. This one here around the bottom is one of Anne Sinclair's own Fair Isle ones, and I wanted the whole hat to be just the background grey hand spun Shetland, and then this is dyed with logwood over the top of grey Shetland to make a deep purple. Now that's been worn for about 6 years by the owner, and although logwood sometimes fades, I'm pretty impressed by the fact that this has been through repeated washings and a lot of sunshine, and the purple has not disappeared at all. So I'm really happy about that. So that's a very successful hat. I would like to also speak about this hat, which is a different pattern altogether. Now this one, I've put the big tassel on, and it's a different design, and it comes from the Norwegian Hand Knits book. This is Voyager Press. Don't think it's still in print. I may be wrong, but it is available on Amazon and other used booksellers. And I have used the pattern from this for the cross-country ski hat. Now, all these patterns in here are taken from older Norwegian and Swedish sorts of designs. There's another cap there on the other page that you can see. And I particularly like this pattern because this brim here is attached. You knit it together. With this one, you cast on at this point, and you knit down, and then you knit up again. So this is your right side, and then when you turn, you're knitting and you're going up that way, so your right side is on the other side, if you know what I mean. And then I fold it over, and there's one little row of purl stitches there to just show you where the edge is, and then you literally stitch that down, so it's a very nice firm brim that's stitched, and that's lovely. With this one, the whole thing is knit together as one piece, and it's very successful and nice and firm. And the thing I like about this pattern is that, if you can see there, the triangles begin like this, and then the triangles actually become smaller as you go up the hat. So it gives you an optical illusion almost of it going like that, even when maybe, you know, the stitches aren't actually doing that, but you are decreasing very slightly in here, and then quite a lot at the top here. That is a grey Shetland with indigo dyed on it, and also a buckthorn on a Shetland for the yellow triangle, and I think those two colours together look fabulous. I have lined this one because the person I gave it to said, could I have a lining? So I took some of this fleece lining, the same fleece lining that I used inside the felted gloves in my last episode, and I just put a band of it there, so it sort of hits the head where, you know, you might get itchiness, although this is not itchy wool, but it was a person who was particularly wool sensitive. So here is my other one that is the same pattern, and this is a much larger hat. You can see how sloppy that is sitting there on that. And that is a hand spun again. This is buckthorn with indigo, and then buckthorn for the triangles. And that one was spun to almost an Aran weight. So that was not a fine yarn. And again, I have lined this one inside. And if you find you've done a lot of work on a hat and it's a little bit too big, that is one way to make it fit, is to put a lining inside. But that one does fit the wearer, it's just they wanted a lining. So those are some of my caps. I also have this book which I featured a few episodes ago, the Gansey Knitting Source Book, and this is by Di Gilpin and Sheila Greenwell. And in this book there is also a cap featured there, and I like that one. If you're not used to knitting with two colours and you don't really want to try too much intricate pattern work on your hat, this one would be a good option, because once again it's knitted on a fine yarn. She's calling here for a double knitting, 24 stitches to a 4-inch square, so that's going to be a slightly chunkier yarn, not as chunky as the baa-ble hat, but that one would probably knit up slightly quicker. And also it has this relief pattern on it, which is just created by doing knit and purl stitches to the grid that she gives. So there's an option. I can't show too much of the pattern there, but that's quite a nice design. And once again, the tassel on this one helps it to just hang down at the back, which is kind of nice. So those are some different options for patterns. I'd now like to just talk a little bit about some yarn. I'd like to just talk about these yarns now. They are all Shetland 4-ply yarns that have been spun commercially in Yorkshire from Shetland wool grown in Scotland. And it's all going to be the exact right thickness of yarn for Sinclair's pattern. So I'll just go through these different colours here. This one obviously is undyed white. Then we've got a dark logwood, an indigo and onion skin, which has come out nice, sort of, it's not an emerald green, but it's a really great green. This is also indigo and onion skins, and that has come out a teal colour. We've got there also cochineal dyed over with indigo, which gives a really good vibrant blue. I'll go over the tops of them so you can see that a bit easier. That one is a medium indigo. Then we've got a light indigo. This one is cochineal, which is insect dye. Cochineal is grown in India, and it gives this amazing vibrant pink, and it's a lovely natural pink. This one here is oak leaves. That's a light oak leaf dye. Now if you just pan over here to this one on the end, that is a dark oak leaf. So we've got the two different greys. And then I have madder root, which is a red. It's really quite hard to pick up the colors exactly when I'm filming indoors, and I try to get these photographed outside for my shop. Then we've got buckthorn, avocado pits, golden onions. These are red onion skins or the purple onion skins. So that's an array of different colors. Now Anne Sinclair's pattern calls for 5 different colors, and some of those colors you will only be using 5 grams. So you're going to have some left over, which I think is rather cool, because with the Fair Isle patterns, you will often need just the tiniest amount, and you can build up a sort of color palette that way with your leftovers and do further projects. So I hope that's been inspiring. I'll just talk a bit about the needles that I use. With these sorts of patterns, it's really helpful to have extra long double pointed needles. They're not readily available. You can buy them from some suppliers. Now in the UK, I buy them from Addy, and I think these are really nice needles. I like the feel of them. I like their weight. They come in sets of 5, which is really helpful, because years ago, the Aero needles, which aren't quite so long, and I pick these up in charity shops whenever I see them, they came in sets of 4. So that's not quite so helpful. I still can work with 4 needles without any problem for a hat like this, but it's really helpful to have 5, because you can just spread the stitches and have more of a circle rather than a triangle that you're working on. So these come in sets of 5, and they have a nice surface to them. They're nice sort of steel but burnished almost. And then the size of the needle, which I find very helpful, is printed on there, which is great, because we all know how frustrating it can be with a big pot of odd needles, and then we have to go and find what we've got and put them into a gauge thing to measure them and blah blah blah. So it's really nice to have that printed on there. Now anytime you can pick these up in a charity shop, do so if they're cheap, because they are more expensive to buy. There are other makes online, and I have quite a few sets of a different make here, and they are okay. They're more lightweight and they're cheaper, and they may bend, but yeah, they fill a gap on the market that could be helpful. So those are my needles, and I hope that's inspired you to have a go at the Fisherman's Kept pattern, Anne Sinclair, and once you start knitting her hat, you'll probably find all kinds of other patterns out there that are very similar and a lot of fun.